Okay, we're going to add these two rational expressions, and just adding fractions, we have to make sure that they have the same denominator. But unfortunately, they don't, right? Because this right here is just x minus 1, and this right here is x squared plus 4x minus 5. So here is what we have to do. We are going to factor out the denominators if possible, and then look for the lowest common denominator. And then make sure that we have to write each fraction in terms of its lowest common denominator, okay? So now, if you look at the first fraction, this denominator here is just x minus 1. We cannot do too much with that. But if you look at x squared plus 4x minus 5, we can factor this out, right? So let's see, we have x right here and x, because x times x will give us the x squared. 1 times 4 will give us negative 5, and together they will add up to be positive 4. The correct combination is plus 5 minus 1, right? 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, and 5 minus 1 is positive 4. And now, let's write down the LCD, the lowest common denominator on the side. Notice that both fractions, they have the x minus 1 in common, and I will just write that down one time, okay? X minus 1 in common, we just need to write that down one time. And we have this extra factor, the x plus 5. So I'm going to have that right here as well. And in fact, you see that for the second fraction, it has the lowest common denominator already. I just have to go back to the first fraction because it only has x minus 1. So what do I need? I need to multiply top and bottom by the x plus 5 because this is what's missing, right? So look at this. I will just multiply the top and bottom by x plus 5. Okay, so you see now the denominators are the same, and of course the order of the factors doesn't matter because they're just multiplying, but they are the same, and we can combine them now. I will just put down the same denominator on the bottom in the factorative form, x minus 1 times x plus 5, and then on the top we have to multiply things out and then combine like terms. So right here we have the 3 multiplied with x, that's going to be 3x. And then we will take the 3 multiplied with the 5, that's going to be plus 15. And we will be adding, and here is actually pretty nice, because when we add this one, we don't have to change the sign. But if this was a minus, be sure to distribute the minus inside. Because when you add, it's like positive times 7x is still 7x right here. And then positive times negative 25 is still minus 25. So nothing's changed. And in the end, we just have to add the top, okay? You see that 3x plus 7x, we can combine like terms to get 10x, right? And now we see that plus 15 minus 25, this is minus 10. And then we still have the denominator. This is the x minus 1 times x plus 5. And are we done? No, because on the top, 10x minus 10, we can factor out the 10, right? And let me just put down the result on the top right here. When we factor out the 10, we will have the x minus 1 left. And in the end, we see that the x minus 1 can be cancelled with this x minus 1 on the bottom. Final answer is 10 on the top over x plus 5. And keep in mind, we are not going to reduce the 10 and the 5 because we cannot. Because this right here is x plus 5. It has 2 terms. If you have 5 times x on the bottom and the 10 on the top, you can reduce the 5 and 10. But in this case, you cannot, okay? You just leave it right here as the answer because you have the plus in between. So this right here is it.